The sun dipped low over the towering pines of Red Vale National Forest, staining the sky in strokes of burnt orange and fading gold. The river whispered softly nearby, its steady flow harmonizing with the sounds of cicadas tuning up for nightfall. It was the kind of place most visitors found soothing, calming, even. But not Claire Dalton. For her, wilderness wasn't just peace. It was precision, discipline, a breathing network of rules, protocols, and dangers that only respect could tame. Tonight, though, she wasn't here for duty. She wasn't even here for adventure. Claire, a former National Search and Rescue Ranger captain, was simply camping alone for the first time since she retired, a personal challenge, a way to reclaim the quiet she once lived in every day. Her tent was pitched perfectly, angles sharp, stakes tight, bear-safe food hang suspended expertly from a high branch. Everything in place. As dusk settled, she sat on a log near her small fire, sipping warm tea from a steel cup, watching embers drift upward like sparks of memory. That was when she heard the branch snap. Claire froze. Not with fear, she didn't know fear in the same way ordinary people did. Instead, she listened. One branch, then another, then whispers. But not wilderness whispers. Human whispers. She set her mug down silently. Boots grounded the earth, weight distributed deliberately. Movements too synchronized to be hikers stumbling in the dark, yet too sloppy to be trained rangers. Her hand drifted automatically toward the small pocketknife strapped to her cargo pants, not enough against true danger, but enough to buy seconds. Seconds were everything. A flashlight beam cut through the tree line. Then another. 4 figures emerged into the clearing. Dressed like rangers. Or trying to be. Claire didn't move. Didn't speak. She simply watched them approach, her instincts scanning every detail like a hawk's gaze. Their uniforms looked almost right, but the patches were stitched incorrectly, the Red Vale insignia was typically centered, not angled. Their belts had the wrong buckles. Their boots, not standard issue at all. And their posture, too casual. Too predatory. "Evening, ma'am," the first man said. Tall, broad-shouldered, beard cut in a way no ranger would keep in wildfire season. "Park's closing early tonight. Need you to pack up and come with us." Claire's lips curved just a fraction, not a smile. A silent, knowing line. She didn't blink. "Red Vale doesn't close early," she answered calmly. "At least not without a radio-issued wildfire code." "So, what code am I missing?" The man blinked. He wasn't expecting pushback. "Well, you know, safety protocols." "Then give me the code," she repeated. "Federal law requires rangers to report any change in park hours through code 14B or 22F. "Which one is it?" The 3 other men exchanged glances. They didn't know the codes. Amateurs. The second man, a shorter, nervy one, jumped in. "Look, lady, just grab your stuff. We don't have all night." Claire's pulse stayed steady. Her eyes scanned their gear again. Mismatched radios, one without an antenna, park seal printed, not embroidered, no first aid kits, no pepper spray, no GPS trackers. She exhaled softly. This wasn't a misunderstanding. These men weren't rangers, and they were here for her. She kept her voice measured. "Before I pack up, show me your badges." The first man smirked. "It's dark. Hard to see. A real badge reflects light in a gold tone pattern even in low visibility," she said. "Hold it up." Silence. A long, unmistakably incriminating silence. The forest seemed to inhale. Finally, the leader dropped the facade. "Look, Claire Dalton," he stepped forward, letting her name slide off his tongue like a threat. "We know who you are. We know what you used to do. We just need you to come with us quietly." Her muscles tensed. Not visibly. Not dramatically. Just enough to prepare. "So you've been following me." "For months," he said. "You left a lot of enemies behind when you retired. Especially after shutting down that little mountain trafficking ring. Some people aren't happy." Claire's jaw tightened. The ring. The children they saved. The men she turned in. One had escaped custody 3 months ago. And he had allies. "So this is revenge," she murmured. "No," the leader said. "This is delivery. You're getting handed over. Alive, for now." The one on her left cracked his knuckles. "Unless you make it hard." Claire shifted her weight, barely perceptible. "If you really followed me, you'd know something important." "What's that?" She glanced around the clearing. "I don't camp without redundancy." The leader frowned. "And what the hell does that mean?" It means you're not the only ones in this forest. For a moment, they actually looked worried, glancing back into the trees, scanning shadows that moved with the wind. But after several seconds of seeing no backup, the leader chuckled. "Nice try," he said. "Now, move." Claire stepped backward toward her tent, not in fear, but to position herself. Her brain mapped trajectories, escape angles, strike points, improvised weapons, all in a fraction of a time. Someone cornered me. The leader sneered. "Lady, this isn't the time." Claire moved first. Not a wild rush, not a scream, a precise, explosive strike. She kicked dirt directly into the leader's eyes, blinding him, while simultaneously sidestepping and slamming her elbow into the throat of the man nearest her. He gagged, stumbling backward. The third man tried to grab her from behind, but Claire pivoted, snagging a metal tent pole she had positioned intentionally near her fire. She swung it low, smashing his kneecap with a sickening crack. He dropped instantly, howling. The fourth man lunged with a knife. That was the dangerous one. Claire dodged, but the blade grazed her sleeve, slicing fabric. She struck his wrist hard with the tent pole. The knife clattered to the dirt. But the leader, recovering from the dirt in his eyes, grabbed her around the waist, lifting her clean off her feet. "You little." Before he could finish, Claire slammed her head backward into his nose. A crunch, a spray of blood. He dropped her. She hit the ground on her shoulder, rolled, and grabbed the fallen knife. The forest went dead still. 4 men, 1 woman, darkness deepening, and the fight had barely begun. The chase. The men regrouped quickly. Even injured, they were bigger, stronger. But Claire had something they didn't. The forest was hers. She sprinted toward the riverbank, boots pounding the earth, breath sharp and controlled. She heard them crashing behind her, loud, clumsy, predictable. She veered left, toward the ridge. Up the ridge, down the slope, across old ranger paths she knew by muscle memory. They followed, but they didn't understand the terrain. She did. Claire vaulted a fallen log, slid down a gravel patch, then ducked into a narrow gap between rocks, a natural choke point. Perfect. The first man squeezed in after her. Too eager. Rookie mistake. Claire waited in the shadows. When he entered, she kicked his leg sideways, smashing it into the rock wall. Before he could scream, she clamped her hand over his mouth and slammed the hilt of the knife into his temple. He slumped silently. 1 down. 3 to go. Claire moved deeper into the trees, breathing hard but steady. She could hear the other men shouting in the distance. "Spread out. She's not going far." Wrong again. She heard their footsteps diverging. She followed the quieter one, the man with the nervous voice earlier. He was muttering to himself, shaking, flashlight trembling in his grip. He wasn't a threat. He was desperate. Claire stepped behind him without a sound. "Drop the light." He froze. Who? "Drop it." The flashlight fell. She pinned him to a tree with one arm. "Why are you really here?" "They hired us. That's all." He squeaked. "Said you knew too much, said you ruined their business, said they'd pay big if we brought you in." "Who hired you?" "I don't know names. I swear. Just a guy called Marlowe." "Marlowe." Her blood ran cold. He wasn't just part of the trafficking ring. He organized it. Claire inhaled, held the man pinned another moment, then knocked him unconscious cleanly. 2 down. 2 left. The dangerous ones. The confrontation. Claire moved toward the sound of heavy steps and angry voices. The leader and the knife man were sticking together now, smarter, warier. She climbed silently up a boulder ridge above them, crouched low, heart steady. "Why the hell couldn't you idiots stop her?" The leader snarled. "She's a damn ex-captain." The knife man hissed. "I told you this wouldn't be easy." The leader kicked a rock angrily. Marlowe said she didn't have her old reflexes anymore. Claire's lips curved again. They really didn't know her at all. She waited for the perfect moment. Then dropped down, directly behind them. Both men spun. The knife flashed first. Claire dodged right, caught the man's wrist, twisted, hard. The blade dropped. She kicked it downhill, far out of reach. He roared and swung at her wildly. She blocked with her forearm, grabbed his jacket, and flipped him clean over her hip. He hit the ground with a thud. The leader charged in. She ducked, but he clipped her shoulder, sending pain down her arm. She stumbled back. He grinned viciously. Not so tough now, huh? She steadied her breath. You're sloppy. He lunged again. This time she let him get close. Then she slammed her palm upward, full force, into his damaged nose. He screamed, clutching his face. So cold. He fought, struggling against her grip, but she held firm, tightening until his knees buckled. Who hired you? She demanded. Marlowe. He choked. He wants you alive, he said. What? That he'd finish what he started. Claire's stomach tightened. She dropped the leader unconscious and turned toward the knife man. But he was already on his feet. And he was running. Not toward town. Not toward safety. Toward her campsite. Toward her gear. Her supplies. Her radio. Her location beacon. If he got it, he could call Marlowe's people. More men could come. Claire sprinted after him. Dash dash dash. The final stand. The clearing came into view, glowing in firelight. The knife man stumbled toward her tent, rummaging frantically. He grabbed her backpack, ripping it open. Claire burst into the clearing. He whirled, breathing hard, a small flare gun in his hand now. Don't come any closer. She stopped, eyes locked on him. You shoot that, she said quietly, and you'll start a wildfire. I just need light. Back up. Anything. That flare will ignite the brush behind you in seconds. Wind's blowing east. You'll trap yourself. I don't care. He raised the flare gun. Claire moved. Fast. She slammed her shoulder into his arm, forcing it skyward as the flare shot upward harmlessly. It burst into a red cloud above the treetops. He swung at her, desperate. She countered, hitting him in the ribs, then the jaw. He staggered back, tripped over a log, and fell hard. She pinned him with her knee. It's over, she said. He spat blood. You think this stops Marlowe? Claire leaned closer. I don't think. I know. She zip-tied his wrists with a cord from her pocket. It was finally done. 4 men. Neutralized. But the flare. She turned toward the sky. A red burst. Visible for miles. Exactly what she wanted. Within 20 minutes, she heard it, the whir of helicopter blades. Real rangers. Real law enforcement. Her colleagues. Her friends. They landed in the clearing, rushing toward her. Claire, you okay? She exhaled deeply for the first time all night. I'm fine, she said, brushing dirt from her palms. Just needed a little company. Rangers secured the men. Paramedics checked her injuries, minor bruises, nothing more. As the leader was hauled into custody, he glared at her through swollen eyes. This isn't over. Claire looked at him calmly. It is for you. They loaded the imposters onto the helicopter. The forest quieted again. A ranger approached her. How did you know they weren't real? Claire glanced at the treeline, eyes sharp, steady. They didn't follow protocol. The ranger laughed softly. Some things never change, huh? No, she said. Some things don't. She sat near her fire again, sipping the last of her tea as dawn whispered at the horizon. The forest breathed around her. Safe, alive, and very, very proud. Because 4 men pretended to be rangers. But Claire Dalton, she was one, and she knew every protocol they didn't.